focus on some games with visual impairments. We're going to start off with a tactile memory game that leads to a short physical activity, and then we're going to end today's lesson with a game of goalball. Let's get started.
So first, I want to give a quick introduction to our warm-up game featuring a form of Braille. Braille was first used in 1829 by a 15-year-old boy named Louis Braille. He created this once he experienced a loss of eyesight after a childhood accident. And we are sure lucky he did because it is used everywhere in the world. I also want to introduce to you the supplies that I used. I used household supplies, and those were large flashcards, yarn, glue or tape, and scissors, and began making my own shapes. Feel free to get as creative as you want with these shapes. Now that we have the cards made, let's review how to play. First, you will spread the cards out on a table or floor, close your eyes, that's very important, and feel every card. It may be helpful to use a blindfold during this if you are struggling keeping your eyes closed. Once you feel comfortable, pick a shape while keeping your eyes closed still and try to find a match for that shape. Once you find its match, follow along to my brief physical activity after each round. This first video is a quick introduction on matching the cards. Feel free to pause the video and use this as a practice round. If you want to skip the practice round, let's continue on to round 2. Throughout this video, notice how she's keeping her eyes closed and is really feeling each shape using her fingertips. She is doing a great job. You should not feel rushed during this activity. She's almost got it. And she did it. Now, let's move on to the physical activity. For this, you should have your eyes open. You can watch me first, follow along, or listen to my instructions.
All right, good job on your second match, everybody. Now we're going to go into squats. Don't forget to keep your feet shoulder width distance apart, your head forward, and your chest up. Your knees should be in the shape of an L. Let's begin. We're going to do 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Awesome job, everyone. Before we continue on to round 3, I want you to challenge yourself a little bit by rearranging the cards on the table, especially if you snuck a peek at the cards during the physical activity. Here's an example. The cards are now ready for round 3. Let's move on. Let's watch them complete round 3. Notice her eyes are still closed. It's okay to have empty spaces on the table. That just makes it a little more challenging. Notice how she's touching every edge and corner. Feel free to go over the shapes as many times as you want. There is no rush. And she did it. Awesome work. Let's watch and follow along to my next physical activity video. Feel free to look at the task cards to the left of the videos whenever needed.
All right, great job on your third match. We're going to move into sit-ups. Don't forget to keep your feet on the ground and cross your arms. Let's begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Great.
Great work as always. Notice how on the left I've included a task card that shows you an easier modification and also a harder modification if you want to challenge yourself. You should really feel this in your abs. Let's move on to round 4. Notice how her eyes are still closed and she's using both of her hands. Awesome work. Now it is time for physical activity number 4.
Okay, we got our match 4. We're going to move into some modified push-ups. It's okay if you can't do it, but let's just try our best. Keep your arms out in front of you, underneath your shoulders, and let's begin.
You can always make small adjustments throughout the push-ups to make it easier for yourself. Now, let's move on. It is the final round. And she did it. Great job completing the game. It's time for a final and fun physical activity. A dance party.
Awesome work, everybody. Now we're going to have a 5-second dance party.
It's always okay to be silly and let loose during this time. You can just tell that I was having fun. Now let's move on to our main activity of the day, Goalball. Similar to before, I'll provide some brief information to you. This game is made specifically for individuals with visual impairments and usually consists of a team of 3. The ball in the game contains a bell inside to make noise so you or your fellow players can sense where it is located. The goal of the game is to try to score past your opponent and into their net. Now for us, we do not have a goalball court, a net, or a goalball ball. So we'll make some modification using household items. I created the balls using toys around my house. I took off the bells from my cat toys and glued them onto the balls, and it worked great. We also will not be using a net, so we simply made the goal of the game to just try to get the ball past your opponent who's sitting across from you. Make sure to use an open space where you and your opponent won't get injured or injure anybody else. Let's begin.
All right, we're going to come to a seated position and start the game. Don't forget to close your eyes. Oh, you won.
Don't forget to have fun with this game. Let's move on to round number 2. For this round, I upgraded to a medium-sized ball, and it was just a tennis ball that I super glued a bell onto. It has a little difficulty rolling, but still gets the job done. Let's watch the video.
All right, we're going to start using a smaller ball to increase the difficulty. Let's begin.
She got a quick point on me, but that was really fun. If you need to increase the difficulty for this round, feel free to scoot back and create more distance between you and your partner. Let's move on to round 3.
All right, now we're going to move on to our most difficult challenge with the smallest ball. We're going to try to score 2 points. Let's begin. So you got 1 point. Ooh.
And it looks like I won this round. If these tasks are too easy for you, you can always use smaller balls as well as scoot back and create more space between each other. If these tasks are too difficult, you can scoot closer and find a larger ball, such as a soccer ball, basketball, or volleyball. That's the end for the activity. Here's a short goodbye.
Okay, everyone, that's it for our games today. I hope you all enjoyed them. Don't forget to stay active, healthy, and have some fun. Bye!